One of my favorite songs from the 1960s is Turn Around, Look at Me. Anyone remember it? Yeah, a few people. All right, great. Well,
He said he was going to sing it for you.
later, Ed. I loved dancing to that song at the Monsignor Bonner High School Mixers, right down the street from where we are here in Drexel Hill. Although the context of this song is quite different from that of today's gospel, I think its message is pretty similar. This gospel story at its heart tells us to look at someone, lovingly see them for who they really are, and reach out to them in their need. When we do this, we are living Jesus's call to compassionate love. This gospel is a hard reading, but I think two words can help us break down its meaning: openness and intimacy. First, openness. We must open our eyes and hearts to who or what is in front of us and to what makes us uncomfortable. Something the rich person in this gospel story wasn't able to do. We know that this sometimes can be difficult. When we find ourselves struggling with this, it's important that we acknowledge what it is that may be keeping us from seeing with eyes of love, whether indifference, fear, lack of understanding, or something else. Owning these feelings is an essential step toward opening our heart to compassion. The other word is intimacy. To see the unseeable, care for those who are marginalized, or reach out to those in great need requires intimacy. Our heart reaches into their heart. When we do that, our seeing can move into action and embody God's compassionate love. Living these two words, openness and intimacy, leads to compassionate love, the core message of today's gospel. Here are a couple illustrations. Many years ago, I experienced a family relationship that challenged me to be open and intimate. In 1980, my sister-in-law, Sharon, was diagnosed as bipolar, and her multiple sclerosis exacerbated her mental illness. This caused her to be unpredictable and violent at times. And one time, I was on the receiving end of one of her many violent outbursts. I needed to see the situation for what it was. I could no longer be as close to her as I had been, and needed to place firm boundaries in our relationship. It remained this way for many years until 1996, when she was diagnosed with acute leukemia. Because she was then no longer able to react violently, my fear dissipated. I could finally see her for who she really was. During the final weeks of her life, there were no barriers between us. We talked intimately about what life might be like in the next dimension, shared inspirational poetry, and really connected at a heart level. This graced time brought healing to what had been a very trying and strained relationship. In Sharon's dying moments, I felt the grace of resurrection as we together experienced God's compassionate love. Let's each ask ourselves, is there a relationship or situation in our family, group of friends, work, or ministry that is challenging us to see more deeply and be compassionate love? The other example I want to share illustrates how seeing and intimacy lead to compassion for both people and their land. An article in the most recent issue of Alaska Magazine entitled "A Culture of Caring" highlights the work and values of Sherry Beretta and Sophie Minnick. Both are Native people who lead corporations formed from the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act in 1971. As part of her work, Beretta, who chairs the board for Chugach Alaska Corporation, is spearheading a Village in the City initiative in Anchorage to help rural Alaskans adjust to an urban setting. If successful, they would have training, housing, and resources all in one place. It would be, in her words, a place where we can gather as a Native people and be comfortable. She believes embracing traditional Native ways would be a positive step, a good building block for the future. Beretta goes on to say, our 100-year plan for intergenerational prosperity envisions the basic principles of respect, responsibility, resiliency, and reciprocity. We live in connection with our land and have a responsibility to do good while we're here on this earth. Sophie Minnick, as president of the Cook Inlet Region Corporation, not only brings a wealth of financial expertise to her work, but also a drive for social and cultural impact in the workplace and beyond. Some of her initiatives include internships and mentoring programs and educating and engaging future leaders. She's also strived to make a workplace culture like a family. In her words, I always want to be approachable and have a complete open door policy. I pride myself on learning something about each of my employees so I can talk to them about their children, grandchildren, and hobbies. We're like one big family. Sophie Minnick and Sherry Beretta have each worked hard to see the needs of their employees and the surrounding Alaskan community. They see that people want to be appreciated for who they are and their productivity. They also see the people's intimate connection with the land and the importance of caring for and appreciating that interrelatedness. Because these two women are open to seeing more deeply and to intimacy of heart, the power of compassionate love for their people, their native culture, and the land shines through their work. I invite all of us now into a quiet moment. If you would close your eyes or look down in front of you. Listen to the voice of compassion. How is it calling you to be compassionate love for others, for yourself, for the land animals, and all creation. Please open your eyes when you're ready. Remember to see deeply and be the compassionate love you are.